You're watching a Highwire Media podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cinema Gold Show. Today we're diving into Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Before we do that, let me know your thoughts on the final Mission Impossible film. And with that, let's dive into our review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is once again directed by Christopher McQuarrie, the same director who's helmed every entry since Rogue Nation, and stars Tom Cruise as super spy Ethan Hunt, in what is reportedly the last Mission Impossible movie. I say reportedly because you never know. Tom Cruise or somebody might jump back into the driver's seat and take the franchise for a spin. And here, Ethan Hunt and the IMF team continue their search for the rogue AI known as the Entity, which has infiltrated intelligence networks all over the globe. Joined by new allies, Hunt is in a race against time to prevent the world as we know it from changing forever. Excuse me. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you know that the Mission Impossible movies mean a lot to me. I quite literally have watched them for my entire life. First one came out when I was 8 years old. I remember I had a CD of the soundtrack of Mission Impossible. It was a bunch of techno remixes that I still enjoy listening to. There was a period in time when we talked about the Fast and Furious movies as a franchise that had figured itself out, had become something new, and each entry was getting better and more impressive. And that time has kind of passed. There was this moment with Fast 5, 6, and 7 where we talked about it that way. The Mission Impossible movies have genuinely gotten better as they go along. Mission Impossible Fallout to this day, I think, is an action classic and one of the best action movies ever made. And its follow-up, Dead Reckoning, at the time, Dead Reckoning Part 1, was not quite as good as Fallout, but still an incredible film. And I like every Mission Impossible movie, except for 2. 2's okay, it has its moments, and some people do love that movie. But all of them are well worth watching, and I have many times. So much so that I can say that the Mission Impossible franchise just might be my favorite franchise of all time. And so, of course, I was very pumped for The Final Reckoning, and this is a really good movie. I will say this up front. It's not the best Mission Impossible movie, but even a good Mission Impossible movie is better than 90% of the action movies they've put out. It is well worth seeing on the big screen just for the crazy stunts that Tom Cruise is doing and pulling off in this movie. As usual, this is the whole thing. Ever since Ghost Protocol was marketed on the fact that he climbed the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, every film since then has found a way to turn one of his stunts into the primary selling point of the movie. Whether it's hanging off a plane in Rogue Nation, breaking his ankle while jumping across rooftops in Fallout, speeding a motorcycle off of a mountain in Dead Reckoning, or here, hanging from the wings of a biplane that's doing loops and spins and circles and nosedives, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And all of that works amazing. Of course, the action in this film looks great. McQuarrie has proved himself ever since Rogue Nation to be a fantastic helmer of action sequences. There's a great truck chase through caves, there's a handful of really badass fight sequences, and a standout suspense sequence inside of a submarine where the water is threatening to drown Ethan at every second. The sequence, like the CIA infiltration of Mission Impossible 1 or the Burj Khalifa climb of Mission Impossible 4, is very suspense-oriented. And throughout that set piece, I noticed that I was gripping my hands really tightly. And I'd loosen them and be like, oh yeah, it's okay, it's a movie. And then I would start doing it again because it's just so tense. And if you're a longtime fan of the series like I am, there's going to be references here that go far beyond fan service that I think is going to make you very happy. There are plot elements that completely change the perspective of things from other movies that I thought were brilliant ideas that enhanced the films previously. There are characters that come back and they're not just like, hey, remember me? They have substantial roles here. The thing about the movie that I think keeps it from being one of the better Mission Impossible movies is mostly its first act. It is saddled with having to remind viewers of who perhaps haven't seen all the Mission movies or aren't as big as a fan as someone like me. With all the things they need to know, and there's quite a bit of a backstory and a lot of clips from the movies that is shown. And I found myself being like, yeah, I know all this. And boy, did they have flashbacks. But I have to also remember that this is a movie made for the globe. And I can totally see this film without any of those clips being screened and a bunch of people at test screenings being like, I don't remember what this is. Who's that? Why is that important? I wouldn't be surprised if that's why a lot of these clips and references are in this movie, for people who just don't remember any of it. And granted, yeah, I mean, it's 8 films deep, I get it. There's folks who've never seen the 96 movie, or the 2000 Mission Impossible 2, or the 2006 MI3. There's people who weren't even alive then, who are going to watch this movie for the first time in the theater, who don't care about any of those, and I get it. But for me, it did feel like this extra amount of reminders that I just don't need. And when it comes to Dead Reckoning, the primary villain in that movie, I did feel was rather lackluster. And he's back in this, of course, because it's a continuation. And I still find him kind of mustache twirly, and he's just a bit too much for me. When it comes to the mission movies, they're never known for their villains. That being said, Philip Seymour Hoffman in 3 is without a doubt the GOAT villain of the franchise. He's incredible, and he's one of the primary reasons I love the 3rd film. The other thing that's interesting about this movie, and I think it makes perfect sense, it's just that I wasn't quite prepared for it, is that there are movies where the world is going to end, and then there are movies when the world is going to end. There's plenty of James Bond movies where he's trying to stop the ending of the world, and there's plenty of mission movies where Ethan does stop the end of the world. And you can have fun with that, and you can be like, yes, the world's going to blow up, and you never actually feel like it is. Final Reckoning is filled with dread to the point where you can feel kind of sad, because it actually is taking it very, very seriously. This element of, this is like total global annihilation we're talking about here. So it's not like in Fallout where it's like, I'm going to try to stop this bomb from going off. Or, of course, the end of Ghost Protocol, where you feel like, yes, I was tense, but I never really imagined people just dying. Just felt like, yeah, they'll do it. In this one, it's a lot harder to munch the popcorn, if you know what I mean, because it's just so serious, and the humor is stripped out of it. There's certainly some moments of humor, but nowhere near as much as usual. This is not what I would call a problem, it's just something to be aware of. The tone here is far more serious. The best way I can describe it is kind of like the difference between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight is a very intense and sad film, but there's something about The Dark Knight Rises that feels so much somber. There's far less action, there's far less Batman, and it just kind of feels like the world is ending in that movie. And that's kind of how I feel about The Final Reckoning. There is less action when compared to the other mission movies. Ethan is kind of off on his own, like not at full power, and it's a much more somber viewing experience. But at the end of the day, like I said at the beginning of this video, a good mission movie is still better than almost every action movie ever made. Despite the fact that this isn't one of the best mission movies, and I say that as a huge fan, it's still a very good one. With this movie, it's like, no, you did amazing work. Like, you guys worked so hard to make such an entertaining movie. Tom Cruise is out there working his ass off to entertain us and putting his life in danger constantly to make sure that we have a good time. And this movie delivers on all those aspects. It's just that the first hour is, you got to go get through a few things, but when it gets there, this movie rocks. So definitely check this one out on the big screen if you guys can find the time. And with that, we'd like to highlight our sponsor, Hulu Plus Live TV. This episode is brought to you by Hulu Plus Live TV, where streaming meets live television, all in one powerful package. Let's be real, life's too short to be juggling 5 different apps just to catch your favorite shows, live sports, and breaking news. Hulu and Live TV bring it all together in one place. We're talking live sports from ESPN, breaking news on CNN and Fox, hit shows from FX, ABC, NBC, plus full access to Hulu's massive streaming library. All with no cable box, no hidden fees, and no nonsense. And get this, it now includes Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, all bundled together. That's right, your Marvel favorites, Star Wars sagas, Pixar classics, and every 30 for 30 doc you've been meaning to watch. All part of your subscription. You can pause, rewind, record live TV with unlimited DVR, so you'll never miss a moment. Whether it's game day, premiere night, or just time to binge that new true crime doc everyone's talking about. Cut the cord, ditch the dish, and level up your viewing with Hulu plus Live TV. Live TV and streaming all in one. Use the link in the description, go sign up today, and help support the channel. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can also buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. And of course, before we go, give us a thumbs up if you like our video, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification button to be notified of future videos, and of course, give us your thoughts on The Final Reckoning. And with that, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.